Liliana the Last Hope and Liliana the Veil are really different cards. I guess, you know, I probably was wrong earlier saying like comparing them to Liliana the Veil is wrong. Because they're both 3-mana black planeswalkers with the same casting cost. Smokey, 24 months, appreciate you, but they just play so differently. They just do such different things. Like this deck I feel like really needs the 4 Lilianas, like discard creature removal spells and dead matchups, and let me try this. And pressure your opponent's hands, because you don't have access to Turok. You have a lot of dead creature removal spells, and being able to, like, you know, plus against control and big mana is pretty important. How much did suck mulliganing in your index? It was bad. It was bad. Oh, dude, this version is so much better. So much better against Relic than our last version. Cairns being much worse than Clips here. Well, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the thing is, like, the Cairns are a concession to playing 4 Din of the Bugbear in your deck. What is this? What is happening here? Like, when you're playing 4 Din of the Bugbear, and you're playing a Shinka, and you're playing a Graven, and a Sokenzan, like, you just need to play a lot of Graven Cairns, I think. Oh, I guess, yeah, the Coffers deck. Null Profusion. Skip your draw step, whatever. Your maximum hand size is 2. Whenever you play a card, draw a card. Okay, you can keep that. The opponent is living in the future. Yeah, they don't have the coffers in their hand. Yeah, Modern is healed. Lurrus is banned. No Profusion. Playable in Modern. Finally, it's time. It's finally time to dust off your Null Profusions and cast them. Expedition map. Okay, I can find them Cabal coffers. Yeah, I was gonna probably Yorion or Obosh in hand this turn, but I guess I'm gonna be playing Liliana instead. And probably just bolting them end of turn. Why is it non-legendary? I thought it was legendary too. I didn't design the card. I mean, if they cast Null Profusion here, don't they just lose? I guess they can get cards in their hand off of Castle Locthwain. Oh, they're casting the Black March to kill my Liliana. Exiling their Null Profusion. Sure. So now I don't need to bolt them. I can maybe save the bolt for a turn where I have Obosh in play. They do have Castle Locthwain going, and they've got, you know, Expedition map for Cabal coffers. Activate Castle Locthwain this turn. That's not too bad. Would Blightning be kind of cool? Blightning is Blightning maybe. You can also play Lightning Skelemental. I kind of think that Lightning Skelemental is a bit of a trap. We need to try Esper because it was nerfed. We need to see how build without Lurrus. Well, I don't know that you do build it without Lurrus, but it's also true that I usually like to focus on the decks that got buffed before the decks that got nerfed. Is the record hidden for a reason? Oh, accidentally. Sorry, actually, it wasn't. I knew I touched something on the overlay. I couldn't figure out what it was. Okay, they plus the card to try to keep it alive, but I've got a Lightning Bolt, and I've got a Den of the Bugbear. And I am not playing this Urborg because it actually gives them 2 extra mana. A funny draw. There's the Maya Cabal coffers. We tried Shadow yesterday and it was nerfed. Well, Obos Shadow wasn't nerfed. See, that's a good argument though. But I will just also continue to, you know, play what I want to play. And maybe it'll be Esper Minter at some point. They're gonna cast Null Profusion? they're tapping a lot of mana. Oh, they did cast Null Profusion. They're skipping their draw step now. Dude, playing this Urborg is pretty risky, but I think it's better to play it to get the extra damage in. So they're skipping their draw step. They do get a card off the Castle Locthwain though. The Rearisen comes out. I mean, yeah, I'll play what I want to play. It's never been any deeper than that. So they make a ton of mana now with their Cabal Coffers. They're struggling though. And so, okay, whenever you play a card, draw a card. Your maximum hand size is 2. And you also skip your draw step. So if they draw a spell, they get to cast it and then draw another card. Pretty good spell, although, you know, I have 2 haste effects in my hand. Or, you know, 1 in hand, 1 in play. They do have a new card and they concede. Sifting with Twitch Prime, appreciate ya. 6 mana cycle. Not the best. Not the best rate. No donation decks, Johnny. Consumes All seems kind of bad. Charmaw I don't think is discounted by any card in their deck, but I almost feel like 5 mana Stone Rain, especially against a deck with 6 drops, is maybe better than Fury. Was it really a cycle? Prevented a draw? What they netted? It was a cycle, yeah, because it prevented a draw, drew a card. Oh no, sorry, it was yeah. Never mind, it wasn't even a cycle. Yeah. Maybe is Fury better than HCA? Maybe we'll do 2-2 split. Neither card's too good. Dude, we can Fable Charmaw in this matchup. Conferences have a normal tap ability? I don't think so. I guess we keep this. This hand's pretty good if we draw a land in the top 3 cards. There we go. We're at 24 land deck too. 2 Defiles, Urborg, Karn, Damnation, Invoke Despair. What a deck. No Moon for Coffers or Castle seems weird. Well, I brought in the Charmaws already. I feel like I'd rather just blow them up than like have just like strict card disadvantage with the Alpine Moons. It's like I know that like this is their game plan. Like I understand that their game plan is to assemble these black lands together, but I don't think that Alpine Moon meaningfully breaks it up in an effective way, and I also don't think their game plan is very good. So I don't think that you need to like focus a ton on beating it either. Yikes. Opponent helping me out with the old Stone Rain plan. Might be a bit awkward against the Karn to discard Shattering Spree. Will we see more Anvil action? Yeah, for sure. I'm planning on trying to update the deck tomorrow. I've been getting a ton of people asking for it, so, and it's also something I'm, you know, wanting to work on because I really like the deck too. What do you think about Bunker Giant? I don't like the card very much. I'm just not really a believer in the card in general. Sack a creature, sack a planeswalker, lose 2 life, they draw a card. It's pretty good. I blow up the Urborg here though, right? Blowing up Urborg lets me puts them down to 2 mana instead of 3. And they've already used 2 Urborgs now, so they're not like super duper likely to top deck another one. Demise of Lurist to play Mardu Pile similar to Mardu Pyromancer decks of all. I trophied with a Mardu Shadow deck the other day. I mean, I don't know exactly what you mean by another. Yeah, they only have 2 mana here. I don't know exactly what you're looking for. I think that it doesn't like necessarily sound like you're not gonna get the exact same old Mardu Pyromancer deck, but you can play a Mardu deck and do well, yeah. We're playing against a mono black control deck that is really cool and not that good. Yeah, like I don't think Bone Crusher Giant is completely unplayable, but there is definitely like a range between completely unplayable and just like not correct to main deck, and I think that Bone Crusher is like usually in that range in your modern decks. Okay, so now Cabal Coffers does actually effectively tap for a mana, which is unfortunate for us because we know we know that they've got a Karn. Can we ban looting yet? Looting continues to be one of like the most unsafe cards to ban in the entire format. Doesn't like really make a lot of sense that people think it's a safe unban, and I don't think that that's going to change anytime soon either. Oh, I forgot about Obosh. Damn it. Sorry, I thought that all companions were banned. 1 mana short of casting it to... So they can minus Karn. I don't know what they're getting with it though. You love for a blue-red control deck with grindier stuff like Pyro, Merc, no Rags. Well, Pyro is way better with, or Ragavan's way better with counterspells than Pyro is. Pyro, you mean young Pyromancer? I don't know. It's like you're just suggesting Murktide with young Pyromancer over over Ragavan because young Pyromancer is cool. Ragavan is not cool, but you know this is definitely a worse version you're suggesting. So I don't have any love for it. No. Why are they playing no Profusion? Joey, thank you for the 12 months. Appreciate you. One time. So I still have 2 Kolaghan's commands in the deck as outs to the bridge. Maybe it was better to cast the Obosh because if I draw the command, I'd kill them immediately. Thoughts on stock Shadow Giganta over Luris? I think it's likely you would rather play Street Wraith, but I'm not sure. Does Charm get worse with the Luris ban? I guess a little bit, yeah. Is Stream Decker back up yet? No, it's still down. Unfortunately. I'll hold the Ragavan. Young Pyromancer kill condition of Blue-Red before image 2. Yeah, I know. I've cast millions of Young Pyromancers in my life, but boys, that card's not playable anymore, unfortunately. I wish I could lie to you and be like, yeah, let's do it. We'll play Young Pyromancer. It'll be good. But it's not gonna be. I'm sorry. It's just not there anymore. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Defile, I guess just get the card out of the hand. But they could have actually killed this. They didn't need to not kill something there. Young Pyromancer, Liliana the Last Hope, Liliana of the Veil. These are all like fine cards that are less powerful than other options now, and you can play them if you like them, but there's really not much more reason to play them than I like them. Hopefully they're just casting no Profusion and losing here. Looks like it's probably the Black March, though. Can March target players? Ballista can target players. Got a couple turns. What did the list look like for Mardu Shadow? I posted it on Twitter. I was playing Obosh, too. No bolt? This is a 6/6 Ballista. What are we bolting? This is a 6/6 Walking Ballista. What are we bolting? Oh, the Obosh. The Obosh. Ah, the Obosh. Yeah, that was a pun, Tom. Okay. You got me. Let's see if maybe my opponent will not realize too. I think there's a good chance they don't know what's up. I figured it out. Right, a couple. I just forgot that Obosh doubles the damage. I haven't played a lot with the card. For Earthing the 7 months, appreciate you. I haven't played very many matches with Obosh Lifetime. Shinka, Shizo are worse in this version. They're worse, but I mean, there's still a Ragavan deck. I'm gonna discard the Shadowing Spree. I know. I mean, I think it made sense at the time. Like whatever, we had to discard it anyways because it was the next Seasoned Pyromancer. If they end up banning Yorion, can the case be made to unnerf Companion? I mean, I think that like you would maybe never see Companion nerf if Lurrus had if Yorion and Lurrus were banned first. But there would be a huge outrage. The outrage would be wild if you did that. No chance. Coach with the $10. It's 5 a.m. but I woke up early to get a deck tech I pre-made last night. Okay, can you post the link in the chat? I will take a look. Mold to 5. Mono blacks. Outrage over what exactly? If they were to unnerf the companion mechanic after banning Yorion, the player base would be furious. You know, I'm not here to comment on if that would be a good move or not. It probably wouldn't be. But boy would the player base never shut up about it. Obviously, this list is similar to what I'm doing here. Choosing to play Karn and Voidwalker over Obosh, which is fine. Oh man, why can't they have played that last turn? Guess we'll cast the Liliana though. I'll just discard the Obosh. I can return it with the command, I guess, if I need to. This seems fine. I like it. I don't see anything incredibly wrong with the deck building. I think you may have some tension with Voidwalker, but it's probably not going to be that bad. No, it'd be fine. You look at the sideboard. There's a lot of Necromancias. Necromancia's okay. Yeah, I don't know that I like this sideboard plan of I've got Necromancias on the board, I've got Urzus and 1 Terminate, and I've got Karn targets. Yeah, I think the first Kroxa... Oh, for Kroxa... No, with all these Consumes All, you don't want it, actually. Alright, we can get them out of cards in hand. Or we can get them out of cards in hand and then return the Charmaw. I guess I'll just return the Charmaw, destroy the Mind Stone. I think we know their last card's a land, and I want the ability to Charmaw the castle if I can. Yeah, like the issue here is like you have these Necromancias in the sideboard, but you also have like 3 push, 2 bolts, 2 terminate. Like these cards are just gonna be dead in some matchups, and you do not have the sideboard cards to make up for the amount of times that they'll be dead. You just don't have enough. I'm not sure how to rectify that, but it does seem to me to be an issue with this deck's construction. Second is Coding Mystery card. I think that my opponent is going to Coding, target the Liliana on my turn, and what I can do is kill the Coding with the command, and then ultimate the Liliana. I probably get rid of the Karn in the process. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think that's an issue. I think you need like 2 less Karn targets so you can be able to cut your removal spells in matchups, but I'm not sure exactly what you want in those spots instead. They didn't activate Karn, which is obviously good for me. So yeah, let's go Return, Charmaw, destroy the coding. That's Encroaching Shadow, post Luris ban. Still very good. Maybe Murktide is better, but it's also like it's not like the Shadow deck is hungry for more threats. That has not been the that has not been like the I feel like required change for the deck. Probably should have thought about this split a little bit more first. Kind of like 3 basic swamps versus Karn, Urborg, Lockdwayne, Mindstone. Maybe Urborg is better over here. Then I can Din of the Bugbear the Karn with this pile. Yeah, I want a non-basic land in both piles so I can Charmaw it. Alright, looking like we're in pretty good shape. 1 card in their hands. Why not blow up lands, then ult Lily? Blow up, there's a lot wrong with that suggested line. When you say blow up lands, Charmaw blows up 1 land. What land are we destroying? What Liliana split are we doing? And how are we dealing with the Karn the Great Creator if they choose to keep Karn the Great Creator with the Liliana ultimate? So I don't understand your suggested line, but I thought my line was pretty dang good. I could keep this on the play. I think red-white prowess deck, like max deck from energy, 6 rounds of iteration. Yeah, I think Reveler is the card you play for sure. Yeah, Mod Squad, that's better, I think. Yeah, I think that you play Reveler and like maybe you splash blue for iteration and maybe not Stormwing, I think, but maybe you play splash blue for iteration, maybe you splash white for removal. But I do think that Reveler is likely to be a good place. Yeah, I love the new basics. I actually ordered a bunch of them. Yeah, if my opponent's playing Blood Moon, which I think they're likely to, I kind of want to incentivize them to cast that by not playing my Swamp. I'm not too scared of Blood Moon here either. We've got a reader, I think. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. When it enters, you make a 2/2 Shaman. Whenever it attacks, make a treasure. Then for Chapter 2, you discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. Then you, Chapter 3, exile the Saga. And you get kind of like a janky Kiki that you have to tap a mana to activate. But you also have to untap with it too. Does Fork Bolt work with Obosh? It does, yeah. It does. Alright, they let it resolve. We get our Goblin Shaman token. Alright. I'm gonna get some value here then. Feeling pretty good about that. Put his tank in a little bit. Yeah, it's really weird that Luris was not was only permanents, it wasn't all spells. Okay, I guess I'm not discarding any cards to Fable here. I guess that may be why they let this resolve. So what are we doing here? I think I'm Fury, pitch Fury, Spyro, discard Spyro. Spyro and land. What way should I change with Grixis Shadow post Luris? Well, that's the big question, right? That's the $1 million question. Everybody's got it on their mind. Spike, I bought the Grixis Shadow. Wizards did it again. They banned a good deck. What can I do? And there's a few different directions to go. Like you can play Murktide if you want to be playing a tempo-based Ragavan deck. You could also be playing a different Shadow variant. We trophied yesterday with Mardu Shadow actually. Playing Obosh's Companion. You can also still play Grixis Shadow. Grixis Shadow is absolutely still a viable, reasonable deck. Wait, they're blue-white control? What the hell? Yeah, it's still a totally viable, reasonable deck. One that I do recommend like trying to figure out the best way to build it. And that's the real question, is what's the best way to build Grixis Shadow, right? Some people are going really crazy with it, playing blue-black Shadow. I saw some builds yesterday. We tried a build of that yesterday. It didn't feel that good. But you know, there's definitely a lot of ways to build that version. And then Grixis Shadow is also still totally fine. You can play Murktide. You can not play Murktide. You can play Street Wraith. You can play Giganta as a companion. You can play Kroxa, no Kroxa. There's a lot of ways to build it, and it's a really difficult puzzle to solve. But it is also like true that I don't feel like any of these ways to build the deck really seemed that bad. I think all of the different versions seem kind of fine. Can I get a deck tech throw? You can, yeah. You can get one, you know, whenever, just as long as you redeem the option. You play Street Wraith in, I think, in what deck? In the Shadow decks, I have been like, yeah, playing Street Wraith, but again, there's just a lot of ways to build it. So my opponent's hand is Ending, Solitude, Mystery card. Untapped White Source is kind of bad for me. Is there ever going to be a metagame where Traverse Shadow would be playable? Maybe. Let's say the Bolt for Solitude, actually. Maybe, but the problem I have with Traverse Shadow is the fact that Traverse used to be good because there just wasn't a good density of playable threats in these modern tempo decks, whatever you want to call them. Like they're yeah, you can Daze Undoing. There just wasn't a good density of playable cards in these decks. I don't think I care that much about Chalice necessarily. Maybe I should care about it more than I do. But I've got 4 Consumes All in the deck, and you know I can just bolt in response if they Chalice this turn. Probably gonna draw all 1-drops. Probably just gonna draw all 1-drops. Can we talk about the fact that they're playing Daze Undoing? I mean, Daze Undoing Narset isn't good in Modern. It's really fun and cute. It's not good though. I don't think there's too much more to talk about. Look at the spot they're in. Like they have a 3-mana card in their hand. You don't get to resolve that many 3-mana cards in Modern. When you do resolve them, you should like usually be pushing your advantage. But the fact that they don't have a Narset that's alive in play means that they just can't cast their 3-drop, which is a disaster for them. And they're like pretty behind because of it. Is there a Phoenix deck that's well positioned right now? I'm a bit hesitant, but hopefully. Tech by Roman, thinking no beats. No Lurrus blue white. Cool. Cool. As much as I really like Blacksmith Skill, I think that I would probably just be playing. I like 22 lands. I'm not a big fan of Iganjo in the blue-white list. I would rather not play it. But I think I would probably be on -1 gift. I've never really liked gift that much. Especially that you just have more equipments in the deck. I don't think you need it as bad. I think 4 Stoneforge is plenty. I think -1 gift, -1 skill. Oh, sorry, I missed the Paradise Mantle. Maybe. I think I'd like to see. I want to see the 4th Midnight. I really don't like cutting the Midnight. Like your best draws are always like Springleaf draw, Midnight, Ornithopter draws. So I think that I might like to see 4 drum, 1 mantle. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the skill. Maybe the 1 gifts is good. Maybe -2 skill, +1 Midnight, +1 drum, and sideboard the skills. That's kind of what I would like to see. Sorry, I got a little monologued here. Okay, well, I'm going to attack the Teferi. And if they fire up the Colonnade, I'll Shizo the Obosh. And if they do that, I'll concede. Am I missing Voidwalker now, or is Obosh that good? Well, the idea is that his Consumes All HCA, this card is going to be making up for a lot of like making up for a lot of the spots where like Voidwalker was good, and it's also not a card you want to play with Kroxa, so you're not going to miss that as much. That's the idea behind this build, and I'm not sure that it's going to be correct, but it is the idea. I'll play like 2 Fury, 2 HGA in this matchup. Jeff, the 2-pack, another deck tech. Okay, so that's kind of my suggestion for the main deck. I think I like 3 Blacksmith Skill in the sideboard. This is kind of like a lot of removal spells. I feel like I usually don't like more than like 2 or 3 removal spells in the sideboard. I would probably just be at like 2 Marches, no Path, 3 Blacksmith Skill. The rest of the sideboard looks pretty good. I don't think the Meddling Mage and Teferi are mandatory, but they seem fine. And I would probably cut the Castle or the Igajo for the 4th Coast. Because Coast just doesn't cost you that much to put in the deck. Okay, Blue Rhinos. Very reminiscent of like those first builds we had, huh? Fury and Cryptic. I do think Cryptic's like a little underplayed in these decks. I would play the 4 Fury for sure. I would play the 4th Fury before the first Dead Gone. So maybe 1 Dead Gone, 4 Furies, probably correct. You also maybe play 2 Dead Gone, 3 Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher's not a mandatory card. Maybe seems fine. The Blood Moons plus the Cryptics are kind of greedy, but it may be okay for the matchups you bring in the Blood Moon. I would just actually play Magus of the Moon instead. Make your Titan matchup better. Titan matchup's already like a little awkward. Yeah, I would just play Magus over Blood Moon. I would cut the 4th Bone Crusher, and play the 4th Fury. And I think the first Jace is fine. It's not mandatory, but it's fine. How did I Shizo Obosh in hands? I'm confused. I was going to Shizo the Obosh to give it unblockable through the Colonnade, was what I said. I don't know if that's what I meant to say, at least. Well, listen, I played Moon over Magus. I'm not sure. I just feel like main deck Blood Moon is not that good right now, because both of Beseiju and 4-color Omnath just they just don't care about Blood Moon. 4-color Omnath, they just do not care about Blood Moon. they laugh at your Blood Moon. It's embarrassing. And like with that being the case, like I don't know where you want it. Okay, this is fine. Maybe someone could figure out where you want it. I don't know where you want it, and I don't know that you do want it either. How was Rabbit Battery and Hammer Time? I liked it. It didn't feel like necessarily the best way to build it, but I like the card. Like, I think it's possible that like that is a card you really want, and it's also possible it's not. You think Elementals could be a decent pick for the vid? No, just play the 4-color Omnath. Like, the 4-color Omnath deck is the Elementals deck without Risen Reef, which was just like a pretty win-more card that kept you from playing just more individually strong cards. Okay, Solitude my Ragavan twice. Unfortunately, though, I don't have a 3rd land. Not yet, at least. I guess I'll take the Purge. They don't necessarily have the 3rd land for the Narset. I guess they don't have the White Source for the Purge, but I also have Bolt for Narset. Brent, take the 8 months. Appreciate ya. How many Triomes do you think will be too many for the 4-color decks? I have a hard time imagining that the 4-color decks play more than 3 Triomes. And I think it's likely that they just continue to play 2, but I could be wrong. Okay, come on, lands. Okay, cool. Yeah, we don't need to Shattering Spree the Chalice super aggressively. There's not really a big rush. Just probably before we cast the Spyro. What did I say? Risen Reef is push out. Yeah. You can't play Risen Reef in this. Now that Liliana the Last Hope is unbanned, how could you ever hope to play Risen Reef? I guess doing it this way is worse against Counterspell. It's probably fine. I guess I'll take the Narset here. It's obviously like a little risky to leave them with the ending. But if they do just ending my Liliana, I'm still like pretty ahead here. And it's kind of awkward to leave them with the Narset when I have Spyro as my last card. Yeah, maybe Vile Elementals, I agree, is probably the better way to build the Elementals deck overall. Just because like the Elementals deck, the Pitch Elementals one, or the more grindy version, there's just a better version of that now in the just the 4-color deck. I think Just Sky Murktide with Ending and White March could be a good choice. I don't love White March as much in Just Sky Murktide. I could be wrong though. I do like the White March overall. But I feel like, you know, you really want to be as mana efficient as possible in those decks, and I don't think the March is that mana efficient necessarily. Any reason to not take up Liliana before Thoughtseize there? Well, I didn't know what I wanted to discard to Liliana. So that's why I waited there to know what I wanted to discard. Probably Casting Fury, right? I thought that Boros Obosh midrange will be very competitive. Well, what does that deck look like? I know, like you say that. I don't know what Boros Obosh looks like. Yeah, Fortune of the Bugbear always makes these matchups so much better. Fetch and Concede. Love to see it. You're the only one I trust to build a good correctly. Trust Canister. Canister spends so much time with the 4-color deck. Canister is great, and Canister spends so much time with the 4-color deck. I know that I would have to spend. I don't even know that I would arrive to a different conclusion that Canister does, but just trust Canister to build it. I do. I know that's what I trust. Oh yeah, sorry. I should cut the Murderous Cut. Bring another HCA. That's not very good. It's kind of good against Chalice, I guess. I'm gonna mulligan. Do you have a plan against Titan with the build? I mean, yeah, we've got 3 Ashioks in the sideboard. So maybe not perfect plan. But we got a plan. You can also, like, Charmaw's also not bad against Titan. It's not as good as you would want it to be, really, but it's not bad. Man, Narset's so good against me. Maybe Narset's good. Maybe Narset's good, but Days Undoing isn't. I don't know. And maybe I'm just playing Seasoned Pyromancer. We really need them to break on lands. Is General better now that Lurrus got banned? No, General was really good against the Lurrus decks. You know, just like the 4-color decks are not, like, they were pretty good against most of the Lurrus decks. The General deck was pretty good against the Lurrus decks too. Yeah, I agree that them fetching is a little greedy, but you know, sometimes greed pays off. I think going back to the 4 monkeys the board of Lotus Field as a play with Lurrus banning. Well, you play monkey in the sideboard. Oh, dude, they found Days Undoing. Alright, well, get wrecked, I guess. Surely they drew 7 lands. Yeah, maybe Narset is better than Jace in the sideboard of Murktide. Narset is really good. Should be good against Omnath. It stops. I guess they can instant speed the Ice Fang to still draw a card, but it stops Abundant Growth, Omnath, Teferi minus. Is that it? Sometimes Teferi if they play Teferi, Jace if they play Jace. Oh yeah, Spreading Seas. It's definitely like a good card of the matchup, but it's not like 3 mana win the game. Alright, come on, Days Undoing. What if you want playing this many 3 drops? I mean, you kind of have to in your Obosh decks. We're just kind of play testing it, right? I think so far this list has not felt as good as the other red-black version we were testing, but I think it's a good to test this. Because I do think that the Consumes All, like you know, it used to be like you could build this deck with Obosh, but like man, losing Kroxa, losing Voidwalker was like really tough. Losing Turok's tough too, but like those are kind of the two cards that really hurt to lose in my opinion. But when you build the deck, oh sorry, I should have put Obosh in my hand. When you build the deck this way though, Consumes All is a card that like it kind of does what its graveyard hate like Voidwalker is. Okay, find Days Undoing. Find Days Undoing. Find Days Undoing. Please, please cast Days Undoing. They revealed Jace. Damn it. And they played around Lightning Bolt. I guess I was like pausing a bunch. I mean, if they cast Days Undoing this turn, we have a chance, so we'll see. Please. That's not Days Undoing. But they're playing 2 Triumphs. It's also kind of weird. Yeah, it feels like just Sister Lost Laris. We built blue-white Narset. I mean, I used to play a lot of Narsets back when Uro was around. That was like Narset was one of the few cards that like was actually like very good against Uro. It was like Narset and Remand were really good against Uro. Not a lot else was. Is Pi going for the record? I don't know. 24 trophies. It's a lot. League closes though in April 27th, which is what, like 50 days? Yeah, it's like 50 days. So it would have to average more than 1 trophy a day for the rest of the season, which is you know, if we had averaged 1 trophy a day, we would have 90 trophies. It's really tough to keep that pace, but it is possible. I'd be a little sad to have my record broken literally the next season, but the Pi is a great player. GG's mine. Sorry I wasn't a better opponent. I don't know what that means. Good GG's to you. Yeah, if Pi breaks the record, we'll just have to break the record next season. My final count was 76. I didn't really play much the last day. I just needed to like prepare for the new set release. Yeah. Mininone got 2nd, and then Tutors got 3rd. Dash Ragavan, I'm assuming. Thinking about it, thinking pretty hard. Decides to do nothing, actually. I think they almost certainly have a Ragavan, so I'm going to wait on the Liliana. Especially not casting it into a possible counter spell. Yeah, Ginger was doing so well. I mean, it's also like really easy to burn out when you're grinding like 13 hours a day, especially all on stream. How many do I currently have? Not that many, I think. I think I have 6. I'm definitely playing really differently, doing a lot of brewing, playing out leagues, you know. Playing worse, too. That commission trophy or plaque. Trophies. Trophies for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. Would Marty Pyro play Ragavan? Just how good it is? Yeah. Yeah, it would play Ragavan. Yeah, it would. Yeah, I like the brewing too. Brewing is my favorite thing to do. Like, a big part of the reason why I did the trophy race at the end of last year was, like, there was a lot of downtime between sets. And Crimson Vow was not, like, the most exciting set to brew with either. There were some cool cards, but just not as many as I would usually like to have. It Consumes All. We have 4 of those in our deck right now. It's a card I like, but it's kind of a hard card to figure out. or lose DRC from this list. Well, in this list, we have Obosh, and so you can play DRC, but DRC is not that good without Bobble. Is something I found. Like, the card really needs Bobble. And, it's also true, like, if you, like, DRC Bobble is a lot of cards in your deck. That's eight spell slots. And when you lose Lurrus, like, you need, in these red black decks, you need to start playing 3-mana grindy cards. Liliana, Seasoned Pyromancer, HCA. You need to be playing these cards. HCA is also a non-both channeler, and so it's like, if you want to keep your Ragavans, and you want to keep your cheap removal spells, and you want to keep your if you want to keep your cards, if you want to keep the cards you've been playing, you need to, the cards that you need to cut to make room for the new grindy cards you have to play is Bobble Channeler, because that's eight slots, pretty easily swappable. Let's go Obosh in hand here. Yeah, simply play Yorion Gamer. I think Arcanist is better than Pyro as a 2-drop. Yeah, I mean, Young Pyromancer, I love Young Pyromancer. I played so much Young Pyromancer, my first GP, my first PPTQ. I won with Young Pyromancer. I lost my win-in for top 8 on GP Oklahoma with Young Pyromancer. I don't think the card is likely to ever make a triumphant return to Modern. If it does, I'll be the first one to be jamming it. But I don't believe. I'm not a believer. What do I think of Franz? I like Franz Grixis list. I changed some cards. We lost a lot of matches. Maybe Fran's list was better. I thought my changes made sense. Well, we've got 2 lightning bolts. I think I'm supposed to go for Fury, which they're not going to counter. I'm assuming they're not going to counter, I guess. I guess if they play around exactly 2 lightning bolts, then good beats. Why not playable? Young Pyromancer is not playable for a handful of reasons. One, if you're looking for a good red tempo card, Channeler and Ragavan are much better being 1 mana. The difference between 1 and 2 mana is it's a lot. It's twice different. And Young Pyromancer is also incredibly weak to Rin and 6. It's incredibly weak to Fury. It's incredibly weak to the higher density of cheap removal spells in general. It's really hard to play these 2-mana threats that are super fragile. Like, your 2-mana threats need to either be like resilient to some removal, like Tarmogoyf. They need to give you some value on ETB, like Stoneforge Mystic, or they just need to, you know, be 1-mana threats instead. Yeah, it also dies to Liliana, the modern staple, Liliana, the Last Hope. Liliana, the Last Cope. I think Asmodex are helped or hurt by the Lurrus ban. Helped. Especially because, like, Lurrus looping engineered explosives was, like, a huge, huge problem for the Asmodex. I guess we'll play it out. Just painful game. Thoughts on how to build Red Black Anvil. I'm gonna be revisiting Red Black Anvil tomorrow or tonight, and then assuming I update the list effectively, we'll be playing it tomorrow, and if not, we'll play something else. Yeah, so I have to draw Liliana, and my opponent has to not have a counterspell. Neither of those things seem that likely, but we will play it out. Finger on the trigger. Opponent's playing kind of slow. Any Brazen Borrowers on the top of my opponent's library? Oh, yeah, I should have double bolted myself. Let's bring in 2 commands for 2 Furies. Just call it a day. I think the Anvil deck mostly stays the same unless you cut the synthesizers. Yeah, I agree with that. The sideboard probably changes, and it is possible that you can play a grindier build with Goblin Engineer and Academy Manufacturer. So that's kind of like where I expect I'm going to start, is Academy Manufacturer and Goblin Engineer. But it is, of course, like a problem that like that build is going to not have access to as many burn spells, I think. I don't think there's really another way to fit it in, and the burn spells just seem like a better way to build the deck overall. Any thoughts on Terror equivalents for the Murktide matchups? I think the Doomblade is the best Terror equivalent now that Lurrus is banned. Also, you know, most of the non-Doomblade ones miss either Murktide or Ragavan. Have you ever noticed that when a metagame has a big shakeup, like a new set or ban, players revert back to burn, and you see evergreen decks float up to the meta settles? I mean, I think you mostly just see people playing their favorite deck, to be honest. Yeah, like in my experience, when there's a meta shift like this, people just the first thing they do when a card gets banned or new set happens or new spoiler happens is they come into my chat and they say, Spike, does this change make my pet deck better? And I'd say, yes, it does, of course. And then they go, great, I'm gonna go play my pet deck for 2 weeks, and then when it's not the best deck in the format, I'm gonna complain on Twitter. I say, that's great, I will see you in 2 weeks. That is usually my experience when a shakeup happens. Cascading Chaos, you could type ! overlay to use it like on your own stream if that's what you want. But it is, I don't know, it's a service provided by MTG Bot. I'm not really sure how it works though. Alright, no Spell Pierce, please. It's kind of awkward to Edict the Channeler, but I think this is just like the play I have available to me. It's good etiquette to wait 2 weeks, but you can't start now. It's a good etiquette to like at least pretend like you played your pet deck for a little bit and then it just like start complaining immediately. But if you feel the need to complain now, I can't stop you. I guess I should play the HCA since it kind of forces them to cast the Murktide. At least the Murktide will be just a 5/5. Assuming that this doesn't get counterspell, it's probably going to get counterspell because they didn't cast Murktide. Okay, bolts me. Interesting. So they're definitely going to go in on Murktide. It's going to be a 6/6 right now, which thankfully is a 3-turn clock and not a 2-turn clock. This also means that they are tapping out of Archmage's Charm, so I can resolve a Seasoned Pyromancer. So I get to go Ragavan, Seasoned Spyro, and then a little bit of hope in here, huh? Ooh. Obviously a little tension, I guess, Murderous Cut and second right, but I am happy to have a Murderous Cut against the Murktide Regent. I'm a little less happy about the Blood Moon. A little less happy about the Blood Moon. Kind of surprised they would cast that and turn off their charm. I guess it's probably fine. We're not like secretly winning this race, are we? I don't think so. Ever thought about making merch? I've thought about it. I might do it one day. But I don't know why you would like buy merch from me when you could just tattoo my face on your arm or something. Like you don't need to like wait for me to put out merch to just like, you know, represent with you know, tattooing my face somewhere on you. Then maybe mid-game they talk about the Lulas, the Last Hope was better than the Veil. I just feel like I don't understand. The two cards play so differently. Like Last Hope is a grindy engine, good against small creature decks. Liliana the Veil pressures combo and big mana and control decks as hand. That's what Liliana the Veil do. They just do very different things. I also don't think Liliana the Last Hope is good against almost any deck, but and like Liliana is good against, you know, combo big mana control. -4 Insider, -4 Ragavan, -1 Blast, +4 Engineer, +2 Manufacturer, +2 lands. I think I only want 1 Manufacturer as a tutor target, especially because that like lets you keep the synthesizers in. I think Ragavan's also probably not correct. I guess I should play around Spell Pierce. Yeah. People say Last Hope is good against the deck play X1 creatures, but that is Yawgmoth, humans. I don't know. It's not that many, and like there are some good 1 toughness creatures, right? Ragavan's the big one, but waiting till turn 3 to kill Ragavan is not ideal. If you're going to kill an Esper Sentinel, they do get to draw a card, usually off the Sentinel on turn 3. Channeler is usually going to have Delirium by the time you cast Liliana the Last Hope. And you do get to shrink the Channeler, but you don't get to kill it, probably. Yeah, Min-Might. Yeah, Fervent Champion. But it's just not that many cards, you know? That is true. If you can cast Liliana on turn 2, it's a lot stronger. But it's also true, like if you're gonna play like a Jund deck, if you're not gonna be playing specifically red-black, you're playing a Jund deck. Like Wrenn and 6 does like what Liliana does a lot better, where like you actually get to kill Channeler a lot of the time because you're casting it on turn 2, not turn 3. It's like a much more effective way to combat the problems, I think. Yeah, I didn't forget to fetch the swamp. This part about Anvil so results removal, yeah, I like that aspect a lot too. I almost feel like what you could cut for the engineer manufacturer is the Urza Sagas, like the Urza Saga package, but I'm not sure that you can. But boy, does Urza Saga Saga's like not that good in the Anvil deck, I think. I think I'm just gonna lure it, or Yorion, Luris, Kihira, Jageta. Which one is this? Oh gosh. That's in Saga, Boomer Jund. It's a fine. You can build Jund Saga without Luris. It's fine. Opponent is missing some lands. I think I'll just cast a Seasoned Pyromancer. I was also thinking that like Shrapnel Blast has felt better than Galvanic Blast in the Anvil deck. So maybe what we could do is we could go like -2 Sagas, +1 lands, -4 Galvanic Blast, +4 Engineer, +1 Manufacturer, +1 Sword of the Meek. That's tough. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Hopefully. Wait. Why would they Unholy Heat and then Fury? Why? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just gonna Murktide. Feels like a bit of a bad sequence for them. Yeah, I do think we'll visit, like, you know, we'll be playing some Jund variants and trying to find the best version. Liliana the Veil is bad, they say. And they might be right. But this is at least a good answer to Murktide, huh? I think I will return a creature, but just discard it to the Liliana. And I can Spiral and get just 2 fresh cards. them Hellbents. We'll be way ahead on mana, ahead on cards, ahead on board. Should I replace Baubles with Daredevil? No, you need to keep Mishra's Bauble in the Anvil deck. Mishra's Bauble is really good in the Anvil deck to trigger your Ravenous Squirrel, Disciple of the Vault, and your Anvils. You cannot... I think in every Anvil deck you need to play 4 Mishra's Bauble. So we're probably going to Seasoned Pyromancer in response to the second chapter. Yeah, that is true. Bauble's probably going to be less expensive. Now the Lurrus band, do you think Liliana is playable? I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to put Liliana of the Veil in the deck. We'll see. Hopefully we'll find like a deck or two. Any change you make with Anvil deck without Lurrus, with access 3-mana spells? Yeah, we were just talking about that. I've been kind of wanting to cut Urza Saga from the Anvil deck. Urza Saga I think is just not great in the Anvil deck in general. It's like rough on your mana. It makes you vulnerable to like hate pieces. I just haven't liked it that much, like especially compared to other Saga decks, of course. So I think that it makes sense to cut the sagas. Cut the sagas, add 1 or 2 lands or 1 or 2 Springleaf Drums. Springleaf Drums I think is still pretty good. Like you may just want to like have 2 drum in the deck to naturally draw, maybe 3. But cut those and then cut the Urza Saga targets, and then you can fit in potentially Goblin Engineer plus one Academy Manufacturer. And you maybe cut Galvanic Blast too. I think Shrapnel Blast is better than Galvanic Blast in the list. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, and I'm going to work on it tonight, and we're gonna play test it some. Lurrus Ben, you think Emery Bauble is more of a consideration? I mean, Lurrus being legal, it didn't like affect the like Emery Bauble decks, right? Like there's not like really any deck that's playing Lurrus over Emery. I don't think that Lurrus. We could double activate Din here. I guess we could just do it anyways. Okay, cool. They messed up. A good trick to know: if you activate Din of the Bugbear twice, you get an extra Goblin token because it gets another instance of the ability. But when it concedes, because they're dead either way. We advance to 2 and 1. The Collected Company Unearth deck that we were playing, because Collected Company Unearth are a great way to maximize your 3 drops. Time Sieve over Sword. You would have to play both, but that would have to be a blue splash. And like, yeah, maybe you do play a Thopter Foundry and you splash blue, but you know the deck just gets a lot. The deck ends up getting grinder and grinder, and you just cut all the Shrapnel Blasts, and you never beat big mana combo again. I kind of want the 4th Shrapnel Blast, to be honest. Takenuma over second swamp. The second swamp is just a placeholder. It's probably going to be neither. Put Ragavan here. You're good, Harky. I will be messing around with it. Those are just kind of my initial thoughts. Like, you know, this is usually the kind of stuff I like to do off stream, kind of a fun experiment. But I will continue to work on it off stream, and likely be playing something close to this next time. Any updates on Grixis Anvil? I'll be updating that one too. I don't know exactly how that one looks. It's obviously a lot of the similar thoughts. And it's also like somewhat likely that we end up not moving towards Goblin Engineer with the red-black Anvil deck, but we still may move off Saga, because I'm you know, just not very high on Saga. I guess I should keep the Bolt. Am I hopeful about Daybreak's game takeover from MTGO? I mean, MTGO's been doing pretty well for a while, right? Like, I don't feel like they need to come in and save the client. The client's actually pretty good. It could be improved, of course. And that would be cool. I hope they improve it, but if it was like 5-6 years ago, then yes, I would be thrilled to hear that another company is taking over Magic Online. But I actually think that the Magic Online client is is pretty good. It's not perfect. There's problems with it. I hope it gets improved. But I do think that it's kind of like Magic Online being a crappy client is at this point kind of a dead meme. Did I try to manufacture the Urza? I think I have at some point. Blue White Saga Blade. I played some of that like at the beginning of Neo. We may return to it. I know the Thief's been working on it some. Did I chance to try Ranger Rabbit Battery with Ranger Captain? I haven't, no. I'm not sure exactly what deck that fits into. Opponent deep in the tank. Thinking about how they'll kill me. Main phase, make a token, bounce the Saga. Alright, let's go. I think I'm going to plus discard HCA. Lightning Bolts plus Thoughtseize. And then I potentially have the ability to Fury a Dryad next turn. They've got a Titan and a Summoner's Pact. Pretty easy. Take the Titan, I guess. Thoughts on Sword Sounds versus Kataki for Affinity Hammer. Kind of depends on like what deck you're playing. Kataki is better against Affinity, and Stony is... I guess Kataki is probably better against both, actually. Never mind. Kataki is probably just better against both. Okay, so plays a Saga. Just passes. So it's going to be pretty dangerous for my opponent to cast Summoner's Pact next turn, because I get to Ultimate Liliana, potentially. I think we just cast in the Fury here. From off the top. Well, they have a Summoner's Pact in their hand. Yeah, I mean if they just draw actual Primeval Titan, it's not that big a deal for them. Playing either blue white or rag. Oh, if you're playing like blue white control, they discarded Summoner's Pact. Okay, so their hand is currently Beseiju, mystery card, mystery card. If you're playing blue white control and you have Supreme Verdict in your deck, then you don't want Kataki. But if you're not playing a sweeper effect, then Kataki's probably better. Oh, cast Primetime off Ragavan. That would have been nice. Beseiju, 2 mystery cards. They misplayed, they turned off 6 mana. How did they misplay? I don't think they had the ability to get 6 mana last turn, right? I think they did draw a Titan. Yeah, they did. I don't know what they're grabbing. We're attacking them for 8, down to 6. I might just be edicting Liliana. What would if I ultimate Liliana, I don't really know what my split looks like. Maybe like Urza Saga Titan versus everything else. I thought a Boros Legendary aggro deck with the Channel Lands. Have you thought about it? Like what? How does that work? I don't think there's really anything there. Okay, T-West, Submit Growth Chamber. Okay, let's cast that and see what we want to do. So if I ultimate, put Urza Saga Titan versus everything else, and they leave the other lands, they can go Transmute to West, have 1. Yeah, they won't be able to Titan. Yeah, I think I like splitting Saga Titan versus everything else. And then if they do leave the Titan, I can trade Fury for Titan. They get 2 more lands. They get an Amulet, but... How am I supposed to build blue-black control without Laris? This is... You know, you probably splash red and play this card. Okay, that is the... This is the split that they choose. Maybe I should attack with the Fury. Because then that puts them to 8, and then they attack. They're pretty dead on the crackback. Okay, They take 6. No, they didn't pact. They just drew another Titan. They discarded their pact to the Liliana. Okay, Tyler. Why no monkey attack? My opponent has a 6/6. They're just gonna block it. I know that I have another monkey in my hand, but it just still feels like I'm like it just gives them an easy block. If I could attack with a Spyro too, I think it would be good to attack with everything, but I couldn't attack with a Spyro. No, but the Spyro is summoning sick. If I could have attacked with Spyro, that would have been a good attack, yeah, but it's summoning sick. I don't know what they're getting. I don't think there's anything that destroys us, though. We'll see. They don't know either, but they're trying to find out. Oh yeah, Glacial Chasm. Dude, that card is crazy. I used to play Glacial Chasm in Tiny Leaders in my Azusa Tiny Leaders deck, and boy, was that card not fair. Vesuva Radiant Fountain. But they can't even copy Radiant Fountain. What happened to create this board state? The unplayable Liliana of the Veil Ultimate. Yeah, this is why I don't understand people keep talking about Liliana of the Last Hope is better than Liliana of the Veil. Liliana of the Last Hope is so unplayable in matchups like this. It's just so embarrassing. But Liliana of the Veil is really important for big mana and combo and control, you know, in these kinds of decks. But like Liliana of the Last Hope is horrible in these matchups. It's not that good against Hammer. It's not that good against Cascade. It's like probably not that good against Ragavan decks either. Where is Liliana of the Last Hope good? I don't think it is good anywhere. I'm willing to be wrong because Liliana of the Last Hope is really cool and I like the card a lot. But I unfortunately think I'm right. Yes, against elves, that's it. we finally found the card good against elves. Oh, is there a 5-mana boil? No, unfortunately not. I thought we had boil in the other list, not this one. Why couldn't they copy Radiant Fountain? I don't know why it works this way, but if you have a clone effect like a Vesuva or a clone, and you Rise of the Dark Realms or Primeval Titan that both into play, you just can't. It has to already be in play for you to copy it. If it's enters at the same time, you can't copy. Why does it work this way? Only Clothis knows. I don't know. I guess I might Alpine Moon the Saga. Oh, but that makes my Charmaw more expensive. They fixed the Vesuva Cavern bug. I don't know. I did not know that was bugged. No, they all have only bounce lands. They have only bounce lands. This does put a smile on my face. This feels right. This feels good. So I dash the Ragavan, they're just going to dismember it. So I guess I just Thoughtseize the dismember. I want the Ragavan for the mana generation to hopefully Charmaw next turn, and if not, at least Liliana. Can I talk about why I'm not playing Blood Moon or Magus in these red-black rock decks? I don't think they're 100% necessary when you have access to cards like Charmaw and Ashiok. Blood Moon itself is also like about as bad as it's ever been in Modern, with Beseiju, like Beseiju being a great answer for it for Titan and Tron, and the 4-color on-math decks just not caring about Blood Moon almost at all. Boy, this feels so good. And so like, and it's also true, like, if you want to build the mana base to be as powerful as possible, like Den of the Bugbear plus Graven Cairns, and you get the Shinka Shizo, you get the Sokenzan, the Takenuma, you get the Urborg. You're playing a lot of and you're not playing a lot of fetches with this mana base to have as many utility lands as possible. And so like, it's really like, you're not going to get your one basic swamp that often. It's hard to get 2 basic swamps. You have to really rework the mana base to make that work. And I think that it's not necessary. It is a way to build the deck, but this is like why I've shied away from it in the first place. And but he does love Infect a lot, and two HEAs against Affinity, feeling pretty good. We need to draw land, I guess. Board 24 land deck, we're on the draw. He loves Infect a lot. I actually talked to him a lot about it. I think that green-black Infect with is better than Sultai or blue-black, so that you can have good functional mana and still get to play Phyrexian, whatever that card's called. The Phyrexian Crusader as like kind of the only good affinity card or Infect card. Hype, thank you for the 6 months. Appreciate you. Look at us, 6 months. Indeed. You can cast a Nettle Cyst if they have it. They grabbed a Cauldron. We're a 24 land deck, although 4 of those are Den of the Bugbear, so maybe we don't have that good of a chance to Consumes All next turn. I'm gonna save the push for Urza, is why I'm using the bolt here. But if they Metallic Rebuke my bolt, I'll bolt again. Okay, we did find a land on time. Dude, when HCA is good, it is good. Draw a card. Maybe an Urza this turn. I guess I don't have Revolt anymore. I get Revolt when the 3rd chapter comes down at least. They do have Urza. Very lucky to draw another Mire, to be honest. Only 4 Mires in the deck. Embarrassingly good luck. And I think I'm just going to play another HCA. Just, you know, get that extra creature in play sooner. And his Cauldron, 3 mystery cards. Yeah, you could maybe have been better to play the Fable that turn, but you know, my life total is not the highest, and I don't know that you necessarily just want to let them on top with a token for free, but both lines are probably fine. Will I ever revisit Esper Mentor? I've had so many people ask about that lately. I'm open to it, but you know, I'll just continue to, you know, play decks when I'm interested in them. Okay, let's discard second Seasoned Pyromancer. I don't think I need the Thoughtseize the Cauldron. Although I guess now I will. Yeah, HEA is not legendary. I think a lot of us seem to be under the impression that it was. It's not, actually. Yeah, the little known alternate Thoughtseize bug. It's funny. Okay, they can portable hole my elemental token. They do so happily. 1 card in their hand. That card is Thought Monitor. Pretty good card. Pretty good card. Into Saga. Into Spellbomb. Okay. Well, if they bounce my HCA, I guess that's okay. Sorry for the rhyme. Yeah, I mean, they can bounce the Thought Monitor to their hand, but then they're taking a huge hit. They bounced the Fable instead. Kind of... Wait, why was that the choice? I just get my token back. Yeah, I think that was not the right pick. Okay, up a game. And we've got a Shattering Spree in our sideboard. What do you think is most affected from the Lurrus ban? I mean, like the red-black Lurrus deck, Grixis Shadow. The red-black X archetype is easily the most affected. The like other Loris decks like Hammer, Mill, Burn, Scales, they don't really care that much about losing Loris. But the Red Black X deck does. But there are also like plenty of reasonable cards to play over Loris. And they're all pretty fun and cool. And you know, and also like I'm just like so happy to never see a Loris revealed again. I've been over it for a long time. Reveal Loris, see Loris so often. I've just been over it. And don't ever have to see that again. It's great. What about Bone Crusher? I really dislike Bone Crusher, and I think that card kind of stinks. I don't think it's even like the worst card in Rhinos too, which is like a deck that needs to play a card like Bone Crusher. All right, hopefully draw kind of same spot last game. We've got 2 HCAs in hand. We just need to draw a land in our 24 land deck on the draw. Exact same spot. We hit on turn 3 last game. Hopefully we do it this game too. Yeah, if you had asked me like last weekend about Yorion, I would have been like, it's fine. It's fine. But after playing this weekend with it in paper, I have changed my tune. I don't know. Maybe I should play this because I went the HCAs. Yeah, like I definitely developed a hatred for Yorion that I did not have before. HCA, I don't know. I think HCA is just like for such a wordy, hard to pronounce card. I feel like just like abbreviating it makes a lot of sense to me. All right, come on, land. 24 land deck on the draw, 2-lander. Although I do get rewarded at least for playing the Ragavan. I might still die to the token though. Could draw a portable hole, I guess. Nope. They do need to play 3 artifacts this turn. The problem is they have that Thought Monitor, so Thought Monitor is pretty likely to be able to be chained into extra artifacts. I mean, I can at least bolt the Thought Monitor, although they can Aether Spellbomb the Thought Monitor back to their hand, which is pretty gross. With Peace and Love, I've had so many people telling me how to pronounce the card. And a lot of them are telling me to pronounce it in different ways. I'm just gonna call it HCA. Yeah, let's bolt the Thought Monitor. If they bounce it to their hand and we HCA, then they're at the very least not gonna be able to replay the Thought Monitor very easily. Right, definitely attacking first. But I would love to just trade Stoneforge Mystic for Ragavan here. Obviously connecting is not bad either. Oh, they could have activated Stoneforge, but they didn't. They're just gonna draw 2 cards. Alright, crawl on back. 5 cards in their hands. One of them is a Fun Raveler. Bouncing HCA. They also have the Reality Chip in their hand. If we can never draw our 3rd land, I'll feel pretty good. It's probably going to be a Den of the Bugbear, though. Another Stoneforge Mystic. If I draw a land, I'll probably Liliana Edicts. They failed to find an equipment, so they definitely have the Cauldron stranded in their hand. We're not dead yet, but are we alive? Are we just put on this earth to suffer? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves. I mean, they've got Cauldron in their hand. Let's go game 3. Suffer it is, huh? Suffering never stops. Why is there a Mirror Breaker in the deck? We're just kind of trying it out. We had like 1 spot. We didn't know what to fill. And I'd been talking shit on... I'm going to keep the Shadowings for you. But I'd been talking shit on Liliana the Last Hope all day. So I just wanted to not play it. I love Liliana the Last Hope. Like, don't get me wrong. That card is really cool. But... I don't know. It's just not it, I think. Things Liliana the Last Hope is cool. Things Liliana the Last Hope is not it. But talk about a real card. Kolaghan's Command. That's a real card right there. Think Obosh is worth it? I think no. I think that we've, you know, it's obviously kind of early. We've played both the Obosh version and the non-Obosh version, and the only way I could see this deck is if HGA is just... If HGA is a card you would have main deck 4 of, for sure, because it's just like so sick in the metagame, then yes, it's probably going to be worth it, but I don't think that we're there right now, and I don't know if we're going to be there anytime soon, but it doesn't feel like we're there right now, and it feels like not necessarily that that like losing the other cards is worth it at the moment. I'm trying to think, do I even cast this Kolaghan's Command? I think I just wait and get a big Shattering Spree off. Yeah, I just haven't casted Kolaghan's Command in a few days, so I've got to make sure that my Twitch chat doesn't eat me. Any 2 Steam cards I'm considering? Yeah, we built a version of this deck without Obosh, and you play Voidwalker, Kroxa, and Turok as your even cards, and all those cards are very good. But the idea here is that HCA is also a very good card, but it has tension with Kroxa, and it's, you know, it also exiles graveyards like Voidwalker does, so you don't need Voidwalker as much if you have all this other graveyard hate. So we're going to replicate 3 times and then pay once. Pay for the Sentinel. It is brutal for my opponent to run into a Shattering Spree. I only have 1 in the deck, too. That's a Knight of the Reliquary comeback. Lurrus was not a card keeping that card in check at all. Fran has had some success with land-style deck with Reclaimer and Titania. I personally, you know, I think that 3 mana creatures that are fragile to removal and you have to untap with to find success with them, to even get to, like, even through the rebuke, they just get to keep. Oh, this is brutal. Like 3 mana value creatures that you have to untap with before you get value from them are for the most part not playable in Modern. There are probably like some exceptions, but I think like the vast majority of these effects, you really need to be getting let's Fury here. You really need to be getting an ETB trigger, or they need to be like really resilient to removal. And Knight of the Reliquary is somewhat resilient to red removal, but not so much now that Fury and Unholy Heat exist. Yeah, also bad against newly unbanned Liliana of the Veil. I was playing Grixis Lurrus pre-ban because I like Grixis Control. Do you think Grixis Murktide might be decent? I think there's going to be a good Grixis deck. I think that if you're playing Grixis Lurrus, I mean, Grixis Shadow is going to exist. Grixis Shadow may play Murktide, it may not. It's just going to be hard to figure out the best version. We'll definitely spend some time working on it on this channel, too. How do I think Unholy Heat got hit? I mean, like, if Shadow continues to play Unholy Heat, then it didn't get hit at all. And if Shadow stops playing Unholy Heat in favor of, like, being more Dimir focused, or they just don't play DRC Bobble anymore, then it gets hit a lot. But like for the most part, the main 2 Heat decks are Murktide and Shadow. There aren't, like, people act like there are millions and millions of Unholy Heats in Modern. That's not really the case. It's really just those 2 decks. And Murktide still plays 4 copies. And I do think that we're going to see a big tick. I think immediately the decks you're going to see more of are Murktide, Omnath, Titan, and Hammer. Are my predictions. Are they going to dispatch to tap the Obosh? I think they might. Decided to just take 6. Thoughts on Obosh instead of Fury. The problem with the Oboshing there is if my opponent has removal for the Obosh, or if they have a bounce spell for the Obosh, I can actually lose the game because my life total is too low. So I think like making sure to get getting the construct off the field is just puts me in a much better position. Because like imagine if they like, you know, they could even Aether Spellbomb the Obosh, play like 2 more artifacts, hit me for 3. My life total is just not high enough to definitely win that game. And I'm already like so ahead too. I don't think I need to just find every small pace of value. Favorite Elden Ring boss fight so far? Probably the Grafted guy, without any more spoilers than that. Not a spoiler Elden Ring channel. So my opponent's last card is Dispatch. Which patch? Says everyone in the chat in unison. They didn't sack Aether Spellbomb to draw cards here, which just means that they're giving up. You know why Mono Red Prowess dropped out of popularity? The Red White Prowess builds with Lurrus were more popular, so I expected to see Mono Red or Mono Red splashing for iteration or removal. Blue iteration in blue, removal in white. I expect those decks to become more popular. Okay, so let's talk about this list. I think that you probably played this version of HEA is just the best card in the metagame, which I think it will be in some metagames, and I think that you probably play this other version in like in metagames where like Titan is more popular, Combo Control are more popular, and I think it's cool that there's two like pretty viable ways to build the deck. We'll obviously continue to explore the red-black deck. It's obviously very dear to everybody's heart here. But that's going to be all for me today. 2 long streams so far this week. Feeling good after being gone for the weekend. And I'm also going to be, playing the Hunter Burton Memorial in paper this weekend. So another no challenge stream, unfortunately. Probably going to raid Demonic Tutors, who says he's playing.